Okay, sit yourself on a lift and just come into a good cross-legged position. Just feel that you're sitting evenly. Feel that there's levelness at the seat bones and that the knees are at least as low as your hips. You never really want your knees higher than your hips because in cross legs because that makes it difficult to lift the spine. So aim for level knees and level hips. Aim for balanced level hips. So you don't feel kind of more like you're sitting on one seat bone rather than the other. Stretch forwards and lift up into the heart area. Elevate the heart area upwards, drawing the shoulders down. As you lift, maybe observe your seated position. Just make sure that you are genuinely sitting with levelness. It's not always easy to assess that just from the get-go. So once we start moving, then you can observe, or at least observe with confidence. Focus on filling your lungs and from the bottom to the top. Filling your lungs from the bottom to the top and emptying them from the top to the bottom. Look down at the floor, look at something that doesn't move. Release your knees, bring your hands into Namaste. Press the palms firmly together, lengthen from your armpits into your elbows. Elbows into the heels of the hands into the fingertips. And with an exhalation, allow your eyes to gently close if you haven't done already. Focus on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. Listening to the sound of your in-breath. Listening to the sound of the out-breath. With an exhalation, draw your chin down to meet your chest, lifting your chest to meet your chin. Spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone or somewhere. Just hold on to a feeling of abundance in the heart area, considering something, somewhere or someone in your life that brings you positive energy. Hold on to that feeling of abundance in the heart area, and then gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. And then raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Hold on to your knees, lift up into your chest, elevating the heart area upwards, consciously drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Take a deep inhalation and then turn to the right side, drawing your abdomen across. Drawing your abdomen across and your ribs and your shoulders. Listening to your breath. Observing where there is physical resistance to the turn, and at the same time observing where there isn't physical resistance to the turn, where there's freedom, where there's freedom of movement without resistance, and observe how that changes the initial sensation of resistance. Come back to the center, hold on to the knees, lift it up into the chest. Take a deep inhalation and then with an exhalation turn to the left. Again, observing resistance, balancing that observation with the identification of freedom in other areas, areas that don't feel resistant. So maybe identify also that maybe there's more resistance on one side than on the other. This is all part of our observation, switching on the brain in our pose. We don't just do mindless poses. We draw our attention inwards. We inundate the physical body with attention. And then come back to the center. Come off your lift and back down onto your heels. Sit back on your heels with the knees apart, big toes together. Just let the legs soften into the floor to start off with, before consciously pressing the shin bones into the shin skin so that the shins make really good contact into the floor, so that the thighs activate. And then from activated thighs, lift up into the chest, driving the heart area upwards. Walk your hands forwards. Keep sitting back on the heels, wriggling into the hips. And then finally bring the forehead down. If you lose contact between the seat bones and the heels, then you have a folded blanket between the heels and the seat bones. But actually, often the main culprit
is the head. So put a block underneath your head and see if you can sit the seat bones down on the heel. So have a block under the head. One of the things about bringing the head down before the rest of the body is ready to accommodate it is that it shrinks the chest. It makes the breath resistant. So the breath is always a little different in Adho Mukha Virasana. But if you find it significantly difficult to inhale fully, then put a block underneath your head. Let's all try it. Everyone put a block underneath your head, just on a low level. Push the forehead into the floor. Push the area between the eyebrows into the block. And then observe how maybe you've got more space to inhale, to inflate. Try and breathe into the armpit chest. Try and breathe into the back chest. Keep extending your arms away, keeping the seat bones down on the heels. And then bring your hands underneath your shoulders and push yourself up into a seated position. Just observe how your energy feels different. How it feels a little more lively. Does it feel even on both sides? So if it doesn't feel even on both sides, it suggests that maybe your extension was not entirely even. So spend a little time just trying to distribute your energy evenly using your breath. And then come up onto your knees. Have your hands as wide apart as your mat. Turn your toes under and then come up into dog down. So if you noticed an imbalance of energy when you sat up, observe how you were working more deeply. Observe your balance of action. Observe how your left leg is working, how your right leg is working, and try and make that a mirror image of each other. Observe which leg works more willingly and mirror that with the less willing leg. But sometimes it's more nuanced than that. Sometimes it's not as clear as one leg working more evenly, because maybe one leg works more evenly in the thighs, one leg works more evenly in the knees, maybe one arm naturally pushes into the floor more firmly than the other. So just spend some time in the pose, observing and activating. Lifting the seat bones to the ceiling, lifting the tailbone to the ceiling. Just observing your conscious activity. Okay, step your feet forwards, come up into a standing position. And then have blocks for your hands for half uttanasana. Bring your feet apart, as wide apart as the mat, feeling that your heels are touching the edges of the mat. Your heels are touching the edge of the mat. The little toes are touching the edge of the mat. And look down, make sure that your toes are in line with each other. Tighten your kneecaps. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards like we do in
Tadasana, have your hands on your hips, wing the elbows together, squeeze the elbows together, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Keep the back straight, keep the head lifted, and come forwards, lengthening forwards and finding the blocks. So just stay on the high lift initially, keeping those legs firmly activated in Tadasana, tightening kneecaps, lifting thighs, turning the fronts of the thighs inwards, pushing the backs of the thighs outwards, projecting into the chin, extending the spine away from the legs, hitting the legs back so that your weight is in your heels. But more than that, I want you to go back into that observation of activation. If you can go down lower, then do. If you've got a bad back, just stay at the higher lift, unless you know that your back will cope with going down lower. If you're not sure, then stay at the higher lift. Aim for evenness of action. And again, it's not always straightforward. Is there equal focus on the legs and on the spine and on the arms and on the breath? Or is it all in the legs? Aim for internal balance of action. It's not always as simple as just saying, right, one leg work, the other leg work. You have to feel the pose on the inside. Bring your hands into your hips, bend your knees on the way up if you need to, and then come up into Tadasana. So in your pose, if you're truly observing it, then maybe you observe one leg. So this leg was working really determinedly. This leg here in the thigh was really struggling to kind of lift up and to mirror it. So then if that leg just won't mirror, then you got to soften on the other side a little, so you're not overdoing it on one side and underdoing it on the other, so that you find your levelness. So within your Tadasana, just observe how the feet make contact with the floor. Observe how the shins, can you turn the shins inwards? Can you turn the inner knees towards the back of the room? Can you tighten your kneecaps? Can you turn the fronts of your thighs inwards? Are all of those actions even on both sides? Can you tuck the tailbone in without losing the action of the legs? Draw the belly button to the spine, lift the abdomen to the diaphragm, lift the heart area to the ceiling, lengthen the shoulders down away from your ears, lengthen the shoulders into the fingertips. Observing your internal balance of action. Just keeping your eyes still in the sockets if you can. Just feeling whether you are working evenly or if there is an internal imbalance. So address that feeling of imbalance. Bring balance. It doesn't necessarily mean letting go on one side so that it's even. It's getting the less willing side to, or the less willing limb to activate a little more, and just finding balance in there if you can't. Bring your arms out nice and wide in towards your chest, and then step or jump the feet nice and wide. So the feet as wide apart as the wrists. Bring your weight back a little so that your weight is in your heels. Observe whether your legs are working evenly. So we often consider this a transitional moment, but this is a pose in its own right. The kneecaps working evenly. Keep turning the thighs inwards at this stage, tucking the tailbone in. Are the arms working evenly? Are the shoulders driving down away from your ears? Turn your left toes in, the right leg and foot all the way out, turning the heel in line with the toes, so that this heel lines up with the toes or the instep of the back foot. And then turn the legs the opposite way. Turn the legs from the big toe side to the little toe side. Turn the legs outwards. Just feel that the legs are evenly activated, even though they're in different directions. And then maintain that evenness of activation as you reach down and find the shin. Turn the abdomen up to face the ceiling, turn the chest to face the ceiling. Look up, breathe in and out through the nose. Again, in the pose, observe where there is imbalance. So is the right leg working evenly with the left leg and vice versa? Is the right side of the torso as long as the left side of the torso? Just look down. Is your head directly over your foot? If it's not, squeeze the front leg buttock bone in a little. Lift the chest a little until the head lines up with the foot, and then look back up, breathing in and out through the nose. Good sinus clearer. Reach up, come back to the center, bring the feet parallel. Just come back to the center. And again, just observe the balance of the legs, observe the balance of the arms. Balance between the legs and the spine. Turn the right toes in. The left leg and foot all the way out. So right toes in slightly, left leg all the way out. Just making sure that that heel lines up with the instep, or the toes never, the back foot never the heel. Activate those legs. Can you get the legs to turn outwards? Can you get them to turn out with evenness? And maintain that evenness, really keeping that back leg strong as you come down. Find the shin, turn the chest up to face the ceiling. Breathing in and out through the nose. Observing that internal balance of action. Maintaining that levelness of action. Don't allow the body to lose the back leg. Keep that back leg firm, keeping the kneecaps tightened, extending the spine out of the hips, turning the chest up to face the ceiling. Keeping the front leg buttock bone in line with the front heel. Okay, from here we're going to go into dog down. If you don't want to go into dog down, come up out of trikonasana and then jump the feet together and then come down onto the floor and into dog down. Otherwise, bend the front leg, bring the top hand down on the big toe side of the foot, bring the other hand onto the little toe side of the foot, turn the back leg all the way out, and then step
yourself back into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Just observe your balance of internal action. Activating your legs like Tadasana, activating the spine like Tadasana. Activating for evenness. Okay, and then step or jump your feet forwards, come back with the feet into Tadasana. Come into half uttanasana. If you can't reach the floor, bring your hands onto your shins. Project the chin and the chest forwards, turning the fronts of the legs inwards. Again, in half uttanasana, just feel that you are working with evenness. If you've got blocks handy and you can't reach the floor, then put them under your hands. Otherwise, bring your hands just onto the shins, extending the spine away. And then bring your hands into your hips. Bend your knees on the way up if you need to. Come up into Tadasana. In Tadasana, just observe your energy, how your energy has risen up out of the feet, into the chest, into the arms, into the head, from the feet into the legs. Just breathing even, deep inhalations and exhalations. Turn the palms all the way out so that you rotate the upper arms in the sockets. Breathe evenly into both lungs. Observe whether you breathe more willingly into one lung than the other. Empty the lungs evenly. And aim to correct imbalance in the breath. Breathing into both lungs evenly, out of both lungs evenly. Stretch your arms forwards, interlock the fingers, turn your palms all the way out, and then raise your arms over your head. Release your arms. Swap the interlock of the fingers so that you do the unnatural interlock, the other index finger on the top of the stack. Turn the palms all the way out. And again, raise your arms over your head. Just focusing on feeling the lungs evenly, activating the arms evenly. Now we're doing the interlock unnaturally, if you like. Just observe how that affects the action of the arms. And then release your arms down, stretch your arms down to the floor. And then just come down onto your back and then have a bolster. If you haven't got a bolster, you can use some cushions. Have a bolster underneath your, so we're going to come back onto your back. And then have a bolster, sorry, I'm using all the wrong words. A bolster for underneath your back and a
folded blanket for your head. And then just come down, sit back down onto your seat bones close to the end of the bolster. My bolster kind of sinks quite heavily at the end, and so it's quite comfortable to sit quite close to the bolster. But if you've got a bolster that's kind of really, really firm, sitting too close to the bolster will feel uncomfortable in your back. So just adjust your position according to your bolster or to your cushions. So if your bolster is really firm at the end, then sit maybe an inch or two away from the bolster. Otherwise, sit close to the bolster, lift up into the chest, and then just guide yourself down along the bolster. Have the folded blanket underneath the back of the neck and the head, and just feel that the body, the front body, can really just open up as a result of having the bolster in position. So let the chest open, let the ribs broaden. Just listen to the breath. Observe the in-breath and observe the out-breath. Focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. Continue to fill your lungs evenly. Feel whether there is balance on the bolster. Filling your lungs from the bottom to the top and emptying them from the top to the bottom. And then begin to breathe from the perineum all the way up towards the collarbone with the in-breath, and from the collarbone down towards the perineum with the out-breath. The perineum is the kind of space between at the base of the spine, in between the genitals and the anus. So the perineum is the base of the spine. So breathe all the way up the spine and all the way down the spine with the out breath. And in our spirit of balance, observe whether there is evenness of the in-breath and the out-breath. There probably isn't precise evenness, but observe a basic evenness. At least observe which is longer. So this apanic breath from the perineum to the collarbone is the perfect basis for Viloma pranayama. So Viloma pranayama, when we begin in a moment or two, I'll let you know when to start, and I'll just explain it up until the point at which we start. Viloma pranayama stage 1 is where you inhale, and I just want you to observe how long your in-breath is at the moment. Maybe it's 10 seconds, maybe it's a little longer. Maybe it's fewer than 10 seconds, less than 10 seconds even. Just observe that length of the breath. So Viloma stage 1 is where we interrupt the in-breath And it's like you're climbing a ladder with the in-breath. You breathe from the perineum up to the collarbone, like you're climbing a ladder smoothly, and then you're walking down the ladder smoothly as you exhale. Viloma is where, rather than a smooth walking up the ladder, you come to the first rung of the ladder, and then you just breathe in a little, and then you hold. And you breathe in a little more, walking up another rung of the ladder, and then you hold. And you breathe in a little more, and then you hold. The hold is only ever for a couple of seconds, never more. And the hold should never be a grip. It should always be just a suspension of the breath where you're neither breathing in nor out. Just a suspension of the breath. No gripping of the diaphragm, just a suspension of the diaphragm. And then when you've completed that inhalation, that interrupted inhalation, just a normal out breath from the collarbone down to the perineum. So you can do intermittent cycles. So you can do one cycle of Viloma 1 and then a normal out breath, and then several normal out breaths, or apanic out breath, in breaths and out breaths, and then another cycle of interrupted in breath, or you can do continual cycles. Interrupted in breath, normal out breath. Interrupted in breath, normal out breath. So before we begin, we always begin pranayama with an out breath. So just a few normal cycles of breath, apanic breaths. So inhalation from the perineum to the collarbone, exhalation from the collarbone down to the perineum. Just a few cycles. And then just a normal out breath, and then we will do our interrupted breath. So it's just interrupted in breath, normal out breath. Just normal out breaths. Just as you inhale, observe that you are inhaling evenly into both lungs. So another cycle, just continual cycles, or intermittent. Just letting the out breath be natural and just normal exhalations from the top of the lungs to the bottom. So remember, no tension at all in the diaphragm. There should be no tension around the chest or the neck or the head. Keep it soft. Just one more cycle. And then exhale normally, and then breathe in normally. Just maintaining that apanic breath from the perineum to the collarbone with the in-breath. Just normal in-breaths and normal out-breaths. And then when you're ready, when you've recovered, just push your elbows into the floor. And then lift yourself up into seated baddangulyasana. Just hold onto the big toes, lift up into the chest. Just breathing those apanic inhalations, apanic exhalations. And then just stretch your legs out. Stretch your legs out and come into Dandasana. Maintaining those apanic inhalations, apanic exhalations. And then keeping the legs firm, turn to the right side, keeping the legs really firm. Pressing the backhand into the floor, into the bolster, so that you stay on the front edge of the seat bones. Draw the abdomen from the left to the right. If you roll off the front of the seat bones onto the back edge of the seat bones, then sit on the bolster rather than on the floor. As you turn, just observe the balance of the seat bones, keeping the torso directly between the two hips to preserve the balance. Keep the legs working evenly. Are they working with balance? Just have a quick look back at your feet. Is one leg longer than the other? Come back to the center. So as you turn, do you let your hips adjust, and does one leg become kind of noticeably longer than the other? So activate the legs, feel where the seat bones are, roll onto the front edge of the seat bones or sit on the bolster if you can't, and then turn. Just have a quick look back at your feet. Has your right leg grown and the left leg shrunk? So try and get those legs to work evenly, and then come back to the left side. Turning evenly, feeling that balance in the hips, balance in the shoulders. And then gently come back to the center. Just sit yourself in cross legs for a moment, hold onto your knees and lift up into the chest, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. And lift Mula Bandha. Mula Bandha is the anal sphincter lifting up towards the diaphragm. And then draw the chin down for Jalandhara Bandha. And then some apanic inhalations and apanic exhalations. Maintaining Mula Bandha, maintaining Jalandhara Bandha. Just focusing on that apanic breath from the perineum to the collarbone, from the collarbone to the perineum. Okay, release Mula Bandha, release Jalandhara Bandha. Just observing the energy that you have released through the breath. Just move the bolster up from behind you. Come down onto your back. Have the feet close to the seat bones. Lift the seat bones. Put the bolster or some blocks underneath your lower back. And then gather your shoulder blades together so you on the tops of your shoulders, lifting your chest. Bend your knees and extend your legs up to the ceiling for Viparita Karani. Keep the chest lifted. Keep that apanic breath. That apanic breath brings real quietness to the brain, a feeling of lightness and deep energy. And then bend your knees, bring your feet back down onto the floor. If the seat bones, roll the bolster away. Just have the bolster underneath your knees. Get your folded blanket and bring that underneath the back of your head. Just come up onto your elbows. Make sure that you're in a good straight line right down the centre of your mat. And then allow the body to release into the floor. Allow the body to release into the floor. Just listen to the sound of the breath. The sound of the inhalation, sound of the exhalation.
Just allowing the body to completely release into the ground. Unhooking the muscles of the in-breath and the out-breath. I didn't mean that. Unhooking the muscles of the arms and the legs. Just letting the breath be normal, no longer a panic breath. Just normal inhalations, normal exhalations. Letting go of the muscles of the arms and the legs. Consciously unhooking the muscles from the bones. Letting the physical body become heavy on the floor. Just normal pranic breaths into the lungs, filling the lungs from the bottom to the top, emptying them from the top to the bottom. Just allowing the body to completely release into the ground, distributing the energy that radiates from the bones into the muscles and into the organs, distributing that energy evenly, using the breath down into the toes, into the fingertips, up into the top of the head. Basking in that feeling of energetic lightness. And when you're ready to disturb yourself, just wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. Just bring yourself back into this pose of Shavasana. And then bring the feet onto the bolster, have the feet apart, the knees together, just resting your back into the floor. And then draw your knees in towards your chest. Have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom. Just a gentle massage on the spine. And then roll yourself over onto your right side. Just spend a moment just engaging with the energy that you have released through your practice. And then stretch out the top leg, come back up into a seated position. Come into cross legs with the hands in the masti, just a final spinal lift.
Draw your breath in through your nose and down into the abdomen, the shamanic breath. Closing your eyes if you haven't done already. Just be conscious of the energy that you have released through your practice this morning, that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the extensions, forward bends, the twists, the pranayama, the inversions bring to the body and to the mind. And then draw your chin forwards and down to make contact with your chest. Lifting your chest up to meet your chin. Just spend a moment to observe the positive energy you have created around the heart area. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards. Bring the tips of the index finger together with the tip of the thumb, just a gesture of wisdom. Wisdom, physical intelligence and peacefulness that we can carry into our day as an intention. Raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me. So hopefully you feel that you have really lifted your energy, giving yourself really deep, quietening energy for your day. So thank you very much for joining me.